They do. And yeah, man, joining us right here is Afentse Fenny Lekolwane. Good evening and welcome to Gams FM.
Evening, Kaone.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah,
Great.
good to have you in studio. Last time we
Good
spoke,
to be here, man.
last time we spoke was via the phone.
I know, Lero Talamagala is okay, but Asia. It's good to just meet and shake hands.
Nice to meet you. Nice to have you in studio. And like I say, this is more of a masterclass.
Yeah.
This is more of, cause last time we were talking about your journey in the space, and it's good that our paths have crossed, before.
Yeah.
And, over the years you've been at it. Botswood has become something that's incredible. And I thought, you know what? Here's a lady who is in the space now. When you look at her, she has a studio. She has what we see when you look at other people in other countries. She has that. And I was like, let me just have her for the special. Let's find out how it is just to put together, a film company. How is it? Let's just start it off. How is it to put together what you've put off? Looking at your journey and where you are, what does it take? Do I just need what I have here? What do I need to read more? What does it take?
Yeah, I think for me, I had passion for writing. Yeah, it started with my hunger to write or to tell stories. Because I always say before directing or producing, I'm a storyteller. So, how Tolo Lebelela Mahatsamang with our generations, and you just wonder what is wrong with us? Why can't we have that? I think that is what birthed Flat 101 back in 2003. Because I think we're tired of envying, our neighbors.
Oh, yes.
And we're like, we also can do this, or at least give it a shot, But we had a powerful story in our own right. We thought it was powerful.
Yeah.
And we wanted the story to be had. So we put the team that we knew could help us come up with this production. But I think film, like any business, because Ghana is a business.
Yes.
How you register a company and how you put, the papers and document is honestly just the same.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but I think for us is beyond just issue. It's a company. At some point it moves from it's just a company to I'm passionate about this, and then with time, if passion does not feed you, it becomes an insult. Now it has to be a proper business that you can, know gore ka moso bana ba gago can even feed off it.
Yeah. And when you talk about just registering it as like any other company, I think, when it comes to Lutsatsa Entertainment, we always hear issues of, copyright, you have your CPAS and everything. How then do you navigate those? Cause yes, registering, let's say I can register a supermarket. Yeah, okay, maybe I might be taking myself on the wrong street here. But I can register a company. Most companies that you'd register, you don't necessarily have to copyright, yes, the name. But you also look at it, you're dealing with, licensing and all these things. How do you navigate those things? Especially looking at Botswana, a country which, I'll be very honest, when most of these things started, Nerasa following copyright, even in the ad space, I know back then you'd hear an advert and it has a popular song that but they didn't go through the right procedures of writing a letter and, trying. So how do you navigate that within this film space?
Yeah. I think, you can't copyright an idea. You can only, like for me, I would say the content is mine once I have produced it.
Oh, yes.
Once something is broadcasted on TV, surely is mine. But at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that greater minds think alike. It's possible for you to have an idea that is almost similar to an idea. Like even when you work on a film, you always come up with a reference film, whether it's issues of aesthetics or issues of edit. You always say, I want my film to have this element that is on this person's film,
Yes.
But I remember when I started writing, someone advised me, I don't know if it's true. The person told me, you write this script and then post it and then don't open it. So if somebody steals your script, you can say, this is my script. I wrote it and sent it to myself at this and this date. I don't know if this is true.
Like you email yourself.
More like you email yourself. At least now there's a date attached to it. People will know that this is. But people don't normally steal a whole script.
Yeah.
We steal ideas. Like I can pick ideas from you, but you can't copyright just an idea. But what I normally do with people who want me to read that script, I always ask them, just send me 3 pages. Don't sell me the whole thing.
Oh, so that you just have a bit of an idea.
I just have an idea of the story world.
Oh, all right.
Within 2 pages, I would know if it holds water or not.
All right.
Yeah.
We do continue this conversation right here. We're talking to a woman who, she's basically doing the things when it comes to this industry. Like I say, just what she's managed to put together over the years. I mean, right now I'm speaking to her and she has her own studio. And when I talk studio, I mean, what you usually see on TV, more thing, people just go to a certain area and they go inside and they shoot. And that's why she's here, because she's arrived at that stage. And I feel it's very important to, for a person who wants to be in the space to understand how to get there. So do keep it locked. We do continue this conversation. It is Gabs FM, power to engage your world. You are here on the Lounge Convo, and we are in conversation with a filmmaker, Afentse Fenny Lekolwane, who is a person within the space. And we're just talking about, how to navigate, because she's in a space where, like earlier on, we were just talking about how setting up a company and all that. She's in a space that requires, I believe it's, the word that I'll use, it's a bit of a matrix in how everything works. Like how we're just touching on copywriting. It's not straightforward as, okay, I'm going to copyright this, because you did mention one over. Yes, you may put out a film and I somehow happen to put out maybe a TV version of the film you put, and we've never met, but they're so similar because, we probably drew inspiration from something, from the same source.
Yes.
And, I wonder, how do you tackle those issues? Because, we always see, Batabaria, Samama wants idea, and like, maybe you got it from the same source. How do you tackle those ideas? Because I take it, in the many years you've been in the industry, since the early 2000s to now, you've had such issues where,
yeah, but I think as a writer, you have your own voice, and that is where I think things differ. We can tell the same story, but how we tell it differs.
Okay.
But it's the same story, right? I can't think of a film at the top of my head, but even the way you write scripts, the structure is more or less the same. But it's just how you get to navigate the midpoint of your story, how your other protagonist or antagonist get away or accomplish something. But it's issue of voice.
Okay.
But this is now how I tell my story.
Now, still in Hwane, running a company like this, like running a film company, we're in Botswana, film space still growing. You did mention Hwane, or at some point in your life, you have to decide, hey, it's a passion, it's nice, but I'm growing as a human being. I'm having a family. Bills have to be paid. And as a person, you want to have some form of ownership in terms of, let's say, a house, a car, and all these things. How then do you ensure in running this company, which I'll still go back to the word matrix, which, the industry is like how things work. It's, you're always navigating this and that. In terms of now putting together a team, as the person who initiated this thing, how do you ensure that your team is in line with your vision?
You must have a table read of everything. Say, in the case where I'm done with my 52 episode script, I have 1,200 pages of script A. Before we go any further, we must have a table read. We all need to understand what we're getting ourselves into. But obviously, in terms of bringing in the team, I want to work with people that I know on a personal level I can get along with. Because, like, for example, Harifilima Butoloji, we're filming for like 4 or 5 months. I can't work with you if I just... No, I can't. No matter how good you are. Because I also need energy I draw from you in order to run and film until 3 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But other than that, the issue before we start, the first week of pre-production, we must sit and read the entire 1,200 pages of Botshelo so that all departments understands for productioning. That will be able to have a smooth sales shoot throughout the 5 months.
All right, so in this sense as well, I was also asking in the sense of, so in terms of the people you employ, looking at film, hella like radio, you have a lot of freelancers. So is it the same in let's say your company? Like, do you have a lot of freelancers, which being actors, and maybe you're going to get one sound guy there or one sound lady there?
I only work with freelancers. I can't afford to have people there all the time. Yeah, I work with freelancers, writers. Like right now, we are looking for people by they can help us with storyline development. We work with freelancers. Cinematographers are freelancers. They're there for 5 months. And then they go. Right now, I still have editors by they're editing season last year. But once they are done, they go.
Now, in that, for one thing that worries me as well when it comes to Botswana is I don't see a lot of investment going into. I don't see a lot of corporates going into film, and I say that because, let's say, for example, when I watch Botshelo, I don't see a lot of brand placement in the back. Where you'd expect to see brand placement or a storyline that's carried out. Let's say K-Love Corporation comes and they say, okay, look, for like we'll sponsor 10 episodes and you have to carry us in your storyline. Maybe get excited headphone.
Yeah.
And we don't see a lot of that. And you mentioned okay, it's a passionate industry. How then do you convince investors who are, look, it's a stable space in terms of, you did mention like if ideally when you're putting together a team and you don't feel somebody's energy, you're not necessarily going to work with them. And you just mentioned the way, because you work with freelancers, after this time they go. And definitely you have to keep the consistency. How do you take all of that and convince a person who you'd want to invest in the space? Because I take it by level, some of these things, and they say, but this industry, hey, volatile, and all that.
I think that would help even give our productions longevity, not just do 1 season, 2 seasons, and then, it's gone. Because when you have the corporate behind you, obviously you have support, it can maybe last for 5, 6, 10 years.
Yes.
I've never... Well, actually, Botshelo before it was commissioned by BTV, though it's not a private sector. It was sponsored or supported by SIPA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was the season before was supported by SIPA. I think the levy on technical device. Yeah, we managed.
So you carried on the storyline somehow. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we included them in the storyline. But the 3-year deal we have or support we got from Botswana Television, it doesn't have brand placement. It's just purely commissioned by DBS.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. But in terms of what happened, like, you can second me, or okay, investors are not coming in the way they're supposed to be coming in, and you've been in this space for such a long time, and it's a space that it's a film. We work with our emotions. If I'm a director and I'm there, you feel okay, I've talked to them. This is like the 3rd week me talking to this person. I can say, okay, cut. This person is gone.
Okay, let me be honest. I haven't even been to any office asking for money.
Oh, okay.
No offense.
Okay.
I'm a writer. So what I do is, if I have a story that doesn't want to go away, for me to get rid of it, I need to put it on paper. And then once it's on paper, now the urge to film is there. And I have all the equipment you can think of to film. So while I have everything.
Oh.
And also, I think the bit that I understand, producer. Before I even sold to BTV, I was still into Mnet.
Oh, yes.
So I already have market to sell. It's issue of, do I have the time to produce? So yet.
Okay.
But I think we're looking into developing ourselves We're in a position where when we go to the corporate, at least the references, you've done this, you've been there, now we know once you've produced something, Mnet channels will be interested in buying, or even BTV will definitely get this from you.
So you're working on capacitating.
If I have a story, I film. I don't even think twice. I don't want money from anybody because I don't want anybody wasting my time. So I write, I film, I sell. I think so far I've done over 45 productions. Like Botshelo Jo has a total of close to 300 episodes once we are done with this.
That's a soapy.
As one program, because we've been filming Botshelo Jo since 2014. And Botswana television, imagine if I waited and said, and then you take forever. BTV
I would say, you're one of the lucky ones in terms of, since the way you started having to sell to outside. And I guess then you also had a bit of understanding, okay, so selling outside. Because, as a creative, I know, Lena, waiting for, because your story will end up dying. And I was just asking that question, you find that most people want to get into the space, whether as investors or as people starting their own companies. And one of the things that has held them back, they then have to go ask for money, or ask for sponsorship. And that can take 6 months, financial year. You're not doing anything. You're just there.
By the time you get a yes, you've lost interest in your concept.
And your freelancers,
or even someone is doing it better than you. Yeah. All
right. So now, looking at, how you've been doing your things, running your things, doing your own things, because luckily for you, the equipment is there, the time is there, the studio is there. You've spent all these years, putting money back into building yourself, and, you're here, you have everything that you'd say a film person needs. Now, for a person who's listening in and would want to get into this, what would you say are the do's and don'ts of running a film company?
I'll tell you what works for me, because I don't know will it be a do or don't. This is what works for both.
Yeah, and it's okay because you are here giving your experience.
Yes.
It won't necessarily apply as a copy and paste.
No.
Yeah.
One, I'm not a groupie. I don't belong to let us meet and let us, because the industry, I can't. I'm a writer. Once a lot of negativity into my mind, I can't even come up with the proper concept. You get it? So I'm not a groupie. I'm not into groups or anything. I'm just a writer, And another thing that works for me is I'm married. And my husband and I are running this Botswood together. My husband is actually graduating on the 25th at AFDA Johannesburg. He was doing his honors in cinematography. He was majoring in cinematography at AFDA. So we're in this together. I've studied writing and directing. He's done the technical part of filmmaking. So we're more of a powerhouse now because even local like being hella, we can think I think of the story and he translates it into picture.
Oh, yes.
So he's able, also because we've been together for 20 years now.
You understand each other.
We understand each other. When I say this, he's able to translate it into visuals. So this is what works for me, but also you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice whatever little money that we got from whatever business, we invested it back into the business, right? But you have to gain skill.
Oh, yes.
Because we decided to enroll and study and learn the proper way of doing films, Yes, we were making good business. We're selling to the Mnet channels. We're selling to Now TV. We're selling to UPIC. We're selling everywhere. And then submit our programs. We used to make sales. But we were not happy with the content that we were creating because we can how compare them as we're not South Africa. When you compare with the content that you like watching, you can tell what
oh, yes.
So now we had to humble ourselves. They are younger than almost the same age as my son.
People you could employ,
People that I actually employed.
Oh, yeah.
Which is okay. But I had to go to school to learn.
Humble yourself, basically.
And it worked.
All right.
Now I know what I'm doing.
We are in conversation with a filmmaker, Afentse Fenny Lekolwane, who is, she runs Botswana. She's here giving us just a bit of understanding into just running a film company. And you know what? Like she said before, she gave you the do's and don'ts. It's not a simple copy and paste. She is here to share her experience as a person within the space, a person who's been here for such a long time within this space. Now, unfortunately, we don't have that much time. We just have to wrap up the conversation. But I do appreciate what you've given us, and definitely we'll call you back again to touch more, because 20 minutes is not enough. 20 minutes is not enough. Now, for a person who's listening in and would like to get into this space and don't necessarily have an understanding of the Botswana film space, how would you describe it? Like when you look at, you're actually there when it was actually starting to crawl, even though it crawled for a while. You have a better understanding. How would you describe it?
I think most of the time, the local film industry, Botswana television, but that is, BTV is not the industry. We are the industry. We, the creators of content, industry. And I always tell people, don't create content for a station. Create the content for an audience.
Oh, yes.
As long as there's someone who you feel can listen. We used to sell body choppies.
No, I know.
We used to sell body choppies, and we used to make a lot of money.
Would fly.
I'm telling you, I used to make like 60,000 every month. That's the industry. If you don't have a broadcaster, find a way to sell. We can't. And also, one broadcaster and say, feed us. Now I sold before even BTV started commissioning. So maybe I'm not even the right person. How is the state of the industry? Because I am a writer. I am not interested in anything else. All I want to do is write and film. That's it.
Love's Lounge.